All right, what's up guys? We are back, and this module, we are going into how to actually create a calendar, specifically the calendars that are gonna be most common for you guys in the mortgage industry. This is gonna be the simple calendar as well as the round robin calendar. By the way, before we get started, know that at any point think that you're going to be wanting the round robin calendar functionality. I highly recommend just go through this process using the round robin calendar. If you know how to do the round robin calendar, the simple calendar is really easy. So we're going to start with the round robin calendar for that reason, and then we'll work backwards. I'll show you really quick what the simple calendar looks like. Let's go. So if we are, right now we're in calendars, right? We're picking up where we left off in the last module. So if you don't know where we're at, that means you probably didn't pay attention to the last module. Make sure you go back and watch that video. We are inside the calendar settings. We are creating our first calendar. When we click the button, new calendar and or create calendar in the upper right-hand corner, it's going to give us our options here. We talked about these options in the last module. We're going to round robin for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and name this right here. We're just going to call this test round robin. Now, one of the first things it's going to ask me to do is pick the team members that I want to assign to this round robin. So I only have 2 team members in my account. I'm going to go ahead and pick 2 to be able to demonstrate the round robin functionality. I also have the ability to add a description here. Any of this stuff is stuff that you can edit later. So your first time going through this, I would recommend start with the minimum, like the minimum information that you need to put in. And then from there, go back and see what adding information, what that does to your calendar interface, do you need more information? In some cases, we actually will hide descriptions because it's not the experience we're looking for. So just go in, create the calendar with what you need to do to create the calendar, and you can always come back and edit this later. Okay, so again, I have calendar name as test round robin. My 2 team members here are Michael McAllister and Michael Test. My custom URL will just be McAllister test calendar, right? It's going to need to be something unique. This is unique. In fact, you can tell because of that. If I just go like this, right, McAllister. Oh, it's going to let me. Wow, I was not expecting that. HighLevel, right? This slug is already taken, but in this case, we're going, oh, this slug is taken too. That's all right. We know McAllister test calendar is not taken. All right, meeting duration. How long is this meeting going to last? Now, I'm kind of going back on what I said a minute ago. When it comes to your meeting duration, if you want, you're going to have the ability to set up a buffer like a 15-minute time before, 15-minute time after. So just know that while you're setting this meeting duration, how long do you want the actual meeting to last, right? So we're going to use 30 minutes as the example here. You can set your booking availability. Now remember, whoever you assign to this, it's not only going to reference this booking availability, it is also going to reference whatever these users' primary calendar is. If they've got their calendar sync set up, it's referencing their actual calendar to determine where we can book people for this test round robin calendar. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and confirm this. Actually, I'll show you what advanced settings looks like really quick. It pulls us into there. I shouldn't have done that because now if I click save, oh, it works. Okay, we're good. All right. Okay. So yeah, you can click that advanced settings. You can save it. You can come back into this later. What this advanced setting, I would recommend doing this, right? This is where you're going to have your description, where you can define what group you're going to. That other interface that we were just looking at is like your quick create interface. Whereas for a lot of this stuff, I'm going to recommend actually going into these advanced settings and configuring it over here. Specifically for round robin, you get the ability to define who is the higher priority. So if I had 5 people in here, I would only be able to choose between 3 priority levels. So I could set somebody as the highest priority level by saying that they're high priority. And then I could set 2 other priority levels in addition to that, medium and low priority. So we've done this, we've done this with all 3 priority levels. It works really well. You can either optimize for equal distribution, in which case it's going to choose who this lead is getting assigned to before the calendar is shown and only show that person's availability. Or my personal favorite, you're optimizing for availability. So even if I say, hey, I'm this person is high priority. So anytime these 2 people both have an appointment available, I want you to pick this person. Now, if I say optimize for equal distribution, it's going to pick which calendar it's showing based on who the lead is supposed to be assigned to, based on who is next in line according to that round robin. Availability in here, you can get a little bit more refined than I was doing before. You can also add date specific hours. So if you want to add any holidays or anything, in particular, you guys can add that and limit the hours accordingly. Or, even if it's just a one-time event or something where you need to block stuff off, you can always go here. Your meeting interval, we talked about this. You can make this a reoccurring meeting, right? Pretty self-explanatory. I'm sorry, meeting interval is not the same thing as meeting duration. Meeting duration is what we've already talked about. Meeting interval determines which times show up on the calendar when somebody goes to the calendar. For example, if I change this meeting interval to 15 minutes and I have tomorrow from 8 to 5 available, it's going to show 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, 9. It's going to show every 15-minute interval where booking a uninterrupted 30 minutes is possible. If I set that meeting interval at 30 minutes, then what's it going to do? It's going to do 30 minutes instead. It's going to say 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9, 9:30, 10. So if you want to set your meetings up to only be on the hour, then you can come in and you can choose 60-minute interval, at which point your only time slots are going to that are going to show up are the ones that are landing on the hour, and also have time for you to be able to satisfy like the other requirements in here. So a little bit of flexibility there. The 15-minute one, just fair warning, if you have a wide open calendar, the 15-minute one can look overwhelming for somebody that's picking something. It can look like you have way too much availability. So typically I'm going 30 minutes. 30 minutes is, for the most part, what we're going to stick with here. You can define minimum scheduling notice. Guys, if this looks familiar, you've probably done this with Calendly before. It's pretty much, it's going to be a very, very similar interface, a couple minor nuance differences. If you've never done it before, if you've never used Calendly before, well, here is your sign to start using the calendar. You're going to use the calendar functionality in HighLevel though, and coming in here, we'll jump back into this minimum scheduling notice. You've got, right, a number of days you define where you're saying, hey, I don't want anybody to book a call with me with less than a day notice, or maybe I just need hours. Maybe I just need a couple hours notice. So don't show anybody a time that's within 2 hours of right now, right, is essentially what that's saying. Your date range, you're saying, hey, don't show any days that are longer than 21 days out or longer than 14 days out, right? This is basically saying how far out do you want people to be able to book. You can also define the number of appointments that you can take on per day. Now, this maximum number of bookings, this is going to be calendar specific. So if you have 3 different calendars and one salesperson or that mans all 3 of those calendars, or a couple of salespeople that man all 3 of those calendars, this will not overlap. So you can't say maximum bookings per day 6 if you only want them to have 6 calls. If you have 3 different events, it's going to be 6 times 6 times 6. So just pay attention to that. Maximum bookings per day. This is going to be calendar specific. Maximum bookings per slot, you can actually double book yourself, right? So if your show rate is less than 50% for whatever type, if you're doing pre-approval calls or you're doing agent calls or whatever it is, and your show rate is less than 50% and you want to roll the dice a little bit, you can actually increase the number of bookings that you can take in each time slot. So pretty cool functionality there. And then this is what I was talking about earlier, that buffer time, before buffer, like don't book unless I have a 15-minute buffer before the next call, right? So it'll say, so if I am off starting at 8:30 a.m., it's not going to allow me to book until 8:45. It's going to give me that 15-minute buffer if I'm using this post buffer time, and then vice versa on the pre-buffer time. All right, forms and payment. The default form with this is just first name, last name, email, phone. You can choose any form that you create in forms and surveys. We will talk a little bit more about forms and surveys later on, but for right now, just know any form that you create in forms and surveys, you can select to be your intake form for a calendar, or you can just use the default where it's going to be first name, last name, email, phone, and then any notes for the meeting. A consent checkbox. You have the ability here to require that they check a box that basically your TCPA consent, right? I consent to receive contact information from this company using any contact information I provide. You can actually use this. Some people actually use these calendars as a way to qualify for A2P registration. They'll actually link up their domain to the calendar and use this consent box as a way to demonstrate that they're collecting consent. So something to consider there. That is here built in. It is going to be pre-selected by default. So if you don't want that, you'll need to select it. This toggle right here. Okay. Pre-populating fields. I jumped over that. Sticky contacts. We don't use this a ton, but the reason why is because we do a lot of logging in and out of multiple accounts on the same computer. And the way that they collect, the way that they like track who is who, the browser cookies that they use, it makes it kind of confusing when you're trying to log it in and out of multiple accounts. So I typically don't use the sticky contact functionality. There are other ways that I will pre-fill the information in a form for somebody. I typically won't use this. You are welcome to. Plenty of people do. It's just a personal preference. Then you also have the ability to give them the option to add guests. And then you just say either A, you only want to collect the number of guests that they're adding, or you want the name and email of each guest that they want to add. Your confirmation page, you can either redirect these to a URL, or you have the ability to just make a pop-up message and then have it refresh the same page that you were on. You have the ability to put your Facebook Pixel ID in here. When you do that, it'll send events like, scheduled appointment or abandoned cart if they don't book all the way. Some cool stuff that you can do with that. You can also accept payments here, right? So typically loan officers aren't going to need to worry about this, but know that that is in there. Notifications, right? So you can either A, you can configure notifications in here, or B, you can use the workflows section and the email templates that I was showing you earlier. You can use that as your way of engaging with people that book an appointment. So typically what we're going to do, just how you see this right here, who should receive this notification, it's blank. It's not checked in any of those. Typically, that's how we're going to operate with this as well. We don't really like the default templates that go out, so we're going to create and configure our own, design them, make them look nice, and then we just need to come in here and make sure that none of these are going out in addition to those. Guys, workflows will be going over in a little bit in a follow-up section, right? In a further section. There's section 9 or section 10, so we will be diving into that. Stay tuned. But for right now, just know that if you want to be able to have a higher level of customization, then you're going to want to uncheck these so that you can create your emails inside of templates and use them there later. You're going to be able to allow your calendar to send an invitation and send update emails to your attendees. So again, this is something we typically don't have checked because by default, the calendar will give them the ability to add it to their own personal calendar. I mess around with my calendar enough, and I know my salespeople kind of, move stuff around on their calendar. I don't really like the sending updates. I don't like it to be linked to somebody else's calendar event. So again, this totally depends. It is a really good way, depending on who you're working with, a really good way to drive like increased show rates because it's a shared calendar event that somebody has to accept. You can see if they accept it, it is on their calendar. So this is an option. If you want to allow the Google event that's created for you by the calendar to invite that guest, you can check this box and do that here. And then assign contacts to their respective calendar team members each time an appointment is booked. So what this is saying is, hey, if somebody, even if the lead is assigned to loan officer A, if this person gets on a call with loan officer B, this checkbox would say, always assign it to whoever that call was with. Probably not something that you're going to want to use. We've never used this checkbox. I wouldn't recommend it in most loan officers' cases. You can allow them to cancel and reschedule. They're going to be able to do this with just the click of a button. These toggles you can also turn off, so that's just not an option that they see. But this is the default, right? For the additional notes, your links are going to come in here and they'll have a link to be able to cancel or reschedule and pick another time on your calendar. Customizations, okay, this is where it gets tricky. This is where, I don't want to say tricky. This is where it gets more involved. This is where I'm, not going to go too in depth here, but just know that you have the ability to choose your colors, choose your theme around, turn off descriptions, turn off titles, input custom codes, do things that'll make this more unique and branded to you if that's what you're looking for. All of that is going to be in the customizations section. All right, so that was the round robin really quick because it's going to be pretty much the same thing. We're going to create a simple calendar. Simple calendar, same thing, right? Simple calendar test. Okay, we're good there. Advanced settings, I'll go into advanced settings again so you can see, simple calendar test, advanced settings, boom. It's the same thing, right? The only difference is I don't have multiple people to manage this for. So you're going to connect this. I'm going to connect this to whatever calendar I want this to run off of. So it's my calendar. Then I'm going to set up my sync, right? And then it'll give me an option to set up my external calendar if you didn't already do that in the previous steps, in the previous sections inside this course. That is setting up the simple calendar, almost identical to the round robin. You just don't choose the round robin specific functionality. Guys, this was creating calendars. I highly, highly, highly advise if you are paying for an outside calendar tool, this is one of the first, if not the first tool that you should be looking to replace even before you replace your existing CRM. Just start stacking up those little wins, start finding ways to engage and get more plugged into the system. I promise you will not regret the commitment. Let us know if you have any questions, but until then, we will see you in the next module where we'll be talking about grouping your calendars as well as creating a service menu for your mortgage business. Stay tuned. We'll see you there.